I'm a published author of 5 books, and I want to show you how I've managed to cut the cost of publishing of my 5 books by 69% over the course of the years, right? So my first book was a World War II historical fiction book that I published, self-published, on Amazon in 2018. The total cost of that book was $2,188. You can see it on the screen, the image that I set up here. And that book was called 3 Lives. This was my first book that I've ever published, and I wanted to be very nice, very presentable for friends, family, and anyone else that might read it. So I got a Polish artist to make a book cover that I was proud of, and that cost me approximately $500. That includes the front page, the spine, the back, and what else did I need? So the largest cost was the editing, $1,500 for the first book, approximately 350 pages long. That's copy editing, making sure there's no mistakes, making sure generally that the story makes sense. And yeah, so $1,500. And then the smallest cost was the formatting. So $188 on formatting. What is that? Essentially, Amazon requires specific formats for Kindle publishing and for physical publishing, so that when you as a reader buy it online and on your Kindle, that the book displays correctly. And the same thing with the printed copy, that the pages are displaying correctly and you can read your book with the highest quality. So that was my first book in 2018, pre-AI. It cost $2,188 total per book. With some years and with time, I said, okay, I want to write another book. Not just a book, I wanted to write a series, a sci-fi series. I'm a big fan of sci-fi. Generally, I read a lot of sci-fi. And that series ended up becoming a trilogy called the Hellas Mill series. Hellas Mill being the planet on which the series takes place, or at least the first book in the trilogy takes place on that planet. And so that was in 2023. By 2023, AI was already a thing, right? It had come out. It was all over the internet, but people didn't trust it that much. But I wanted to experiment with it. I thought the idea of AI was really cool. And I thought, hey, if I have 3 books here, it cost me $500 to make one book cover, right? It's going to cost me $1,500, so times 3, to make 3 book covers. And that was a huge cost. That would have increased my costs quite a lot. And I decided, okay, it makes sense. Let's try it with Midjourney. Midjourney cost like $10 at the time to get a subscription. And it came out quite well, So the covers that I have are what I had anticipated, or near enough what my imagination had anticipated. What I did need, though, and that you can see on the side of the screen, I did need to pay $250 for design, because the images obviously don't come with any writing. Midjourney isn't or wasn't capable of writing proper titles and names, and also did not generate the spine of the book nor the back of the book and the blurb, etc. So all of that still needed to be done. So for this, I did hire a human on Upwork to do that graphical design element. So that was $250 plus the $10 of Midjourney. So a massive cost reduction in the artwork. The editing, $2,500, right? Correcting all of those spelling mistakes took a lot of money, took a lot of time, but I wanted to come out with something of quality. And then finally the formatting, right? 3 books, so $488. Yeah, so that brings the total cost to $3,248. But that was for 3 books. So per book, that was $1,082. Which is already a 50% cost reduction versus my first book, 3 Lives. So a huge cost reduction over 5 years. And I was really interested in AI, and I wanted to write a book about AI. So my next book, AI Revolution, The Untold Story of Enslavement and Freedom, which released 1 month ago, is historical fiction. So it's a mix of Black Mirror and World War Z. If you've watched Black Mirror, each episode looks at a different aspect in society of how technology is going to change our society. And so the book is structured somewhat like World War Z in that you have the same character going through time, exploring through time. Yeah. In this case, the decades and centuries as AI has been implemented in our lives, how this is going to impact our relationships with other people. Are we going to fall in love with our AI assistants? How are we going to wage war on each other? What are the lessons we're going to pull from the Russo-Ukrainian war, and how are the Chinese potentially going to implement that on a conquest of Taiwan? No spoilers. How are our economic models going to have to change if many people are losing their jobs? And many more, right? Political, economical, societal, all of these aspects, each in a separate chapter. So again, mid-journey for the book art, right? But now I thought I need to cut out my major expense, editing. And in this case, I just used ChatGPT. I said, hey, correct this, correct this, correct this, correct this. Reread it, made sure it makes sense, made sure it wasn't hallucinating, which ChatGPT sometimes still does. And that was it, right? And with almost no marginal cost. So I managed to cut 2,500 or less, right? Since it's one book, but a lot of money, more than $1,000 just by using ChatGPT. And so art book, AI, editing, AI, formatting. Well, for formatting, I believe, I did not do research actually, but I believe that the formatting for Amazon is so specific that it still has to be done by a human, right? And so essentially this was a cost that remained. It's now become, it went from my smallest cost to my largest cost, $408 for the formatting. And so that brings the total cost of my last book, AI Revolution, to $681, right? That is a 69% cost reduction versus my first book in 2018. In 5 years, I've managed to cut out 2 of these pillars or columns entirely in terms of their costs. And probably the formatting is going to be cut as well, right? In the near future, I would assume. And what makes this interesting, at least for me, and probably for everyone else out there who is thinking about publishing a book, is that, as you can tell by the numbers, that's a lot of money that I'm spending on publishing these books. And no, I am not profitable on any of these books. This is sort of a hobby. But I do think it would make sense if these books were profitable. And throughout the years, I've managed to cut the cost quite drastically. I admit I could have gone a lot cheaper on all of this, right? On all of my costs, but I wanted to create something that I was proud of. And so I did not go for the cheapest options, right? I did not go for the pre-made artwork or did not edit it. Many people just don't even edit their books. And right, essentially that's what I'm trying to say. But what I'm also trying to say is with AI, it becomes more and more realistic that maybe one day these books, a newly published book, could be profitable, right? If I were to have been able to cut the cost of formatting, I would have had a total cost of maybe $250. That would have made this book able to go into profit. I don't know, not yet, but at some point in the near future. And that's interesting. And so what do I think this means? It means it's going to become possible for way more people to publish books. It was already very possible to publish books, potentially with low quality, but now with high quality, right? There's no excuses anymore for not having a nice book cover. There's no excuses anymore to have massive spelling mistakes or grammatical mistakes, if you have AI who can do it essentially for free for you. And so I think that opens the room on Amazon for a lot of people to do that. The negative thing, and that's already happening, is that a lot of people are just prompting AI to write stuff, and this trash is just being copy pasted and uploaded on Amazon and sold. Yeah. So this is the negative thing about that, right? And it's obviously detracts from the hard work that I myself and many other authors put in for months, in my case for years, right? I have a full-time job, but for many authors for months, put into their writing. Right, so that's the first thing that pops into my head when I look at this. And the second thing that pops into my head is, what is going to happen to all of those people who were making a living off of editing, off of drawing book covers, and let's say the formatting? I mean, to be honest, that's also going to go pretty soon. All of these people are going to have to reskill to something that cannot be replaced by AI so easily. So yeah, I mean, those are the main conclusions. I would appreciate it if you like this video, and if you, I'm thinking of maybe uploading more of this content. If you like it, subscribe to the channel, and I can give you more tips and tricks or tell you more about the book publishing journey. Let me know in the comments below. And if you are interested in reading one of my books, then please go ahead. They're all on Amazon, accessible for Kindle and physical copies. So go ahead and grab them. They're not expensive. Most of them cost less than a kebab. So yeah. Thank you and goodbye.